What's up, everybody? It's Joe from JLW Games coming at you with another cool video back in Planet Coaster, and we get into a little bit of the design of the Hypercoaster. This is going to be a very weird episode in a way, because I do work on mostly coaster layouts in this episode. Not particularly the Hypercoaster in general, but I actually end up just getting the lift hill done to figure out exactly kind of where I'm standing on space for the other coaster. And it was kind of awkward. I decided to do the station back here for the Hypercoaster and decided to make a little bit of a tunnel that it goes down into until you hit the brake run and it goes into this very tall lift hill. And it works out in the long run. It doesn't go too slow, I don't think. But this is me just trying to test it out and see how well it goes through there. But anyways, I went with this Hypercoaster because it's one of my favorite kind of Hypercoaster designs. Kind of the design of, or the same coaster type as Goliath from Six Flags Magic Mountain, which is a very large coaster, and it takes that color scheme by default. I probably will change the color scheme in this coaster eventually, and because I don't have much of a theme to it yet, but I'm probably going to get judged on this lift hill because it is very, very tall, and I wish we did have height marks on tracks. That's one of my pet peeves in this game, is there's no height marks, and I prefer feet in the long run. But until then, we're gonna have super tall hypercoasters, and I didn't really realize how tall it was until after I finished the coaster, pretty much. And for right now, it's gonna work out, I suppose. I actually had a couple of comments had a comment saying that my dive coaster was way too big, scaling wise. In my opinion, I thought it fit very nicely. I didn't think it was too tall, but it is potentially supposed to be a tall dive coaster in the first place because it's supposed to be a main attraction, as in one of the tallest in the world, longest in the world, and most exciting. So, and steepest, I might add as well. But anyways, I do pretty much just do the first drop on this Hypercoaster. That's all I do on it in this episode. This episode's mainly focused on the layout of the other coaster in the long run. So that's pretty much what it's all about. And this is me trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. If I'm going to put a flat ride down or a coaster. I decided to put a flat ride down right here because I got ahead of myself in all this path making and naked layout for the rides itself, and I was trying to figure out what to put in this spot right here, and it ended up just being a merry-go-round, because why not? And I tried different ideas here and it didn't work. But again, this is an interesting episode because there's a lot of errors that I try stuff out and it ends up not working in a way. As you can see, I tried to do a little bit something with this carousel, but it doesn't work, and I just leave it plain in the long run. And I tried a second attempt here, but it didn't work out the way I wanted to, because I wanted to put it in this platform and maybe have an enclosed carousel, and that was kind of my idea at the start. But I end up just leaving it blank because I'm like, this isn't working out the way I hoped, and I just put it in blank and go from there. So yeah, it's just a simple flat ride. This flat ride actually came out in one of the most recent update in Alpha 2.3, I believe it was. They added this flat ride. So that was kind of nice. I like when they do stuff like that, just add like a flat ride and an update, and that's about it, or something like that. And pretty much, yeah. So anyways, detailing this spot right here, and this episode's pretty much all about the other coaster, and this is me just kind of stalling, trying to figure out what I'm going to be pretty much doing for this episode. And I know I have to do detailing, and I'm kind of doing bits by bits as I go along, because this area is very naked right now, and there's not a whole lot to it at the moment. But in the future, that will change big time. in the future. But in fact, what I got recorded through so far, we're getting very close to finishing it up. And I believe I just recorded episode 22 today, so I'm pretty far into it. All the rides are pretty much done. All that's really left to do is detailing, because it was a detailing episode and stuff like that. I finally changed the color on the dive coaster in episode 22, I think it is, so you can see the theming of that unfold later. And this is, again, another error that I tried to, ended up not working. I wanted to do this launch coaster in this section. That was my goal, and I wanted to do this type of coaster, and that was originally what I was going to go with, was one of these kind of coasters. But it ended up not going the way I planned it, and I didn't really care for it in the end. But as you can see, I do get pretty far into this coaster, quite a bit, before I trash it all together and try something else. You see the hydraulic launch section right here, and this is me twiddling with the settings and stuff like that. But anyways, I wanted to create something that was pretty tall and stuff, but it was just not realistic. It didn't look realistic enough for me, and I didn't really care for the look of it in this part of the park anyways. But anyways, I say that so much, but anyways, no, for real though, but anyways, there's, I do end up actually going with a wing coaster in the end, after this, gets trashed, because I did not care for the look of it at all. It was just a train wreck. At this point, I was like, man, this is looking terrible. But the wing coaster turned out actually kind of in a unique way. I kind of liked it, and kind of didn't. I don't know. But I will wait till I do some more detailing before I make the final judgment if this last coaster will end up what I want it to be. Because there's another, I think it's the next episode, I actually finished the layout of the hypercoaster, which is a pretty decent hypercoaster in the long run when it does get finished. But that's that. And the wing coaster, I already have a theme for it when it's done, and I use the Ferris wheel, which you'll see here in, honestly, in just a minute or two. I'm getting to the point about where I trash this coaster, because it just, I don't know what I was thinking, it just didn't look good at all. The hills were just uneven, and I was like, this sucks. So I just gave up altogether, and I'm like, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I don't like the looks of that in the first place. So we're going with something different. As you can see, it gets trashed. So then I was like, well, I still want to do a launch coaster, so why not a launched wing coaster? And I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. And I thought it was going to fit better in the long run. So wing coasters have this thing about having a lot of near-miss elements, and I thought I'd try and do that here with this wing coaster, especially with that Ferris wheel with the big open space. I just couldn't pass up the opportunity. You know, you have to send it right through that thing. So I decided to do the launch system on the lift kind of launch system here, and it wouldn't go up this first part because I guess it didn't have enough momentum. So I decided to just do the bottom part as a launch segment as well, and it makes it up just fine. But for this first element, it went through it a little bit too quick, so I really had to slow down the launching part of it, and I had a lot of issues with this designing this ride at the same time, believe it or not. And this is been one of the most stressful and ridiculous rides I've ever tried to build, because it just had issues building it, and the issues with the last ride I tried to put in didn't work out. But this and it ends up the launch ends up going so slow that it could pass for a lift hill. So in the end, I was like, maybe I should have just put a regular wing coaster there. But I decided to go ahead and leave it. That way it's considered a launched wing coaster. But it just goes way too went way too fast through the first thing. Or the first incline twist at the top, dropping down, whatever this is called. Kind of like a Gatekeeper style, but it's slightly different as it has a different angle on it going down. And it does end up kind of resembling Gatekeeper a little bit in a way. But that's because that's the only wing coaster layout I really know, so I kind of use it as my guidelines in the first place. So that's how it always ends up being. And this is kind of supposed to be a 0G roll, but it kind of goes all funky like when I press the smooth tool, so it didn't work out in the end, and I had to rebuild it up and change it a little bit to work properly. And sometimes the smooth tool just spazzes your ride out sometimes, and that's kind of an issue sometimes I find myself in, especially when trying to make the ride very smooth. But anyways, I said it again. This ends up working out in the long run. I still am working on making my coasters very smooth in the end, because my coasters aren't super smooth yet, and I'm still working and practicing with it. But the vertical loop, the prefabricated vertical loop, is actually pretty smooth itself, so I decided to use it rather than use a custom loop. To be honest, I don't think you really need to make your own custom vertical loop, because the in-game one works very well, I think. And what you need, unless you need to make it a certain size that it won't size up to. And I made a little airtime hill, again, kind of resembling a little bit of Gatekeeper in a way. And I decided to turn it back around here with Immelmann inversion to get it back the way it's supposed to. And I think I'm going to keep the blue color scheme, and this is going to be kind of themed, kind of in a stormy type, or a storm type of theme. I think I'm going to call it like Storm Wave or something like that. I think that'd be kind of cool name. But it's a theme where, you know, kind of like you're living on the edge and outside on the wing, I guess, on a boat or something, and you're going through a storm. And it's pretty intense. But, I getting close to the end of the layout of this ride, and since it's in a time lapse, I can't really tell if I've slowed that down yet. I think I have. But this is me testing the smoothness of it, and I was like, yeah, it works alright. But interesting enough, I went ahead and did a mid-course brake run in this as well. But this coaster turned out pretty decent in the long run, I think, but it could have been better. There's still some things that I'm not a little unsure of on this ride, but I think it turned out in the long run pretty decent. And yeah, it is what it is, you know. And I was surprised in the end that I'll still have quite a bit of space in a spot after building this ride. And I mainly just need to theme this area up a little bit and make it look good. So I have a very unique idea for the station for this ride, with its theme and stuff. I think it'll be kind of neat, but we'll see how it turns out. I actually haven't filmed that part yet. It might be the next episode I record, but we'll see in the future. So, but again, I'm very ahead on recording because again, I've recorded through episode 22, and this is episode 19. So a couple episodes ahead, as you can tell, which helps keep the upload rate at a nice pace and stuff. The only thing is if an update comes out, you know, you're not going to see that update come to effect on the channel at least a couple days in the future, which is kind of a bummer in a way, but in the end you're getting daily uploads, I guess, so that works out. but in the long run, this layout I thought turned out pretty well, and still my favorite ride in the park so far is the Raven, which I'm officially calling the dive coaster the Raven. I think it is my favorite layout that I've built so far, and it's a nice dive coaster, and and I think I gotta agree, I think that this hypercoaster is very overscaled, but it works out. But anyways, that is it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day and an even cooler tomorrow. Thanks and goodbye.